Welcome everybody to another session of Office Hours. It's our 40th Office Hours and today is May 5th. Super simple Office Hours going on today. We're just going to have an unscripted one. So whatever happens, happens, and that's what we talk about. Of course, we're going to be talking about version 2.2 today a little bit. We're also going to be talking about your questions, obviously. So remember that at any point you can jump into the comment section and ask your questions. Just type in there, pop and say hello, and I will repeat your question live during the session and answer it right here. So you can get that answer live and overcome obstacles currently facing you in your business. So before I go on, a couple of announcements. Obviously, all Office Hours are recorded and posted to the Office Hours channel on Groundhogg Academy. So if you want to rewatch this Office Hours or rewatch any of our previous Office Hours, you can do so by going to academy.groundhogg.io. We also have a special promotion going on until the end of May, so until May 31st. We're offering a 3-year deal. So if you sign up for Groundhogg for 3 years, we're actually going to give you one of those years entirely free. So you're actually only paying for 2 years. So buy 2 years, get one free. That's available for our agency plan, our pro plan, as well as our plus plan. If you're an existing license holder already, then we are offering prorated upgrades to any of these 3-year plans. Just make sure that you ask us, ping us on live chat or submit a support ticket, and we'll provide you with a special link to receive an prorated cost for any of these 3-year plans. It's a great deal. All the plans come with everything that's included in the license package, as well as the full term of support for each year that you have it. So great deal going on there, and that's until May 31st. All right, so let's talk about, we can talk about anything. I want to talk a little bit about 2.2. Which is our new version with the new dashboard coming up. But most importantly, I want to hear your questions and whatever is preventing you from moving the needle. So make sure that you're getting those questions into the comment section so I can repeat them and then answer your questions live on the call. Lots of stuff is up for grabs. If you have questions about email marketing, marketing automation, building funnels, writing emails, any of our extensions or integrations, pretty much anything is on the table in terms of questions. So make sure that you're popping those in there in the chat. So 2.2, I'll just start out there. 2.2 is our new version. It has lots of cool stuff in it. It has an optimized event queue system, as well as a brand new reporting dashboard, which is really, really, really cool. I showed it last week on the early office hours, but not on the late office hours. So I'm going to go through it again just to give everybody who didn't get a chance to see it last week an opportunity to see it this week. So let's jump in. I'm actually going to pull up the office hours for our actual site, because everybody loves to see those stats. So in 2.2, we've built an entirely new dashboard. So we've gotten rid of all of the dashboard widgets, which are found usually just by going to the WordPress dashboard. And we've built an entirely new one, and it looks very, very, very pretty. And it's going to have all of your mission critical information that you're going to need to know about your emails, about your funnels, your open rates, your contacts, everything. And I'm going to walk everybody through it. So the first thing that we have here is we have kind of just a general overview of what's going on. We have a view of the increase in contacts over a certain time period. So we can see that we're currently looking at the last 30 days. So if I just want to change it to last month, I can choose last month from the little time picker there. And it's going to show me the results of the last month. So we can see that we got 193 new contacts into the system. We engaged 533 of our entire list through clicks and opens and all of that good stuff. We sent 7,300 emails, and we just have lots of information to work with here. We can see our average open rate as well as our average click-through rate on those specific emails. We can see our contacts broken down into opt-in status. And we break it down further. We can see how our funnel emails are performing, how our specific funnels are performing. We can see where contacts are coming from in terms of lead source. Just lots of information to work with here. So that's the general overview, just kind of smatterings of reports from the various different tabs. I see that Brian is having problems with audio, and I'm not having any audio issues on my end that I'm aware of. Brian, if you could expand on what your audio issue is, then that would be helpful. Greg says the audio is okay for him, so Brian, I'm sorry if you're having audio problems, but it doesn't look like it's on my end, so maybe play with your volume a little bit, and that might sort it out. Anytime I have audio listening issues, it's always because I have the speaker selected to the wrong audio device, so sometimes I have it going through my mixer instead of just directly to my headphones, and that's usually a problem that I have to deal with. So make sure that you don't have your speaker set to the wrong thing. Where was I? Okay, yeah, so we have the general overview and just smatterings of reports from different sections, but we break it down further, so I'm going to jump into our contacts tab here. And we have that overview banner of the new contacts per day or per time period going on at the top here. We break it down further into seeing how we're actually engaging with our contacts, how many new ones that we have. These two reports are new, so confirmed contacts and unsubscribes. We started tracking the actual date and time and events of people confirming their email address or unsubscribing, so we'll be able to see how that plays out here. So every time you get a new confirmed contact, we'll be able to tell when exactly that interaction happened on a per month or per day basis. So super cool stuff there. And the same thing for unsubscribes. We have a couple more reports down here. So lead score. So this is applicable if you have the lead scoring extension installed. You can see based on the number of interactions that people have with your site, based on rule sets that you can define, exactly where they show up. And we can see that people who are freezing, so zero interaction, make up the vast majority. We have people who are on fire. These are the people that are most likely to buy, who have the most interaction with your email marketing or with courses or however it is that you want it to play out. So we have that report. We can see how many people opted in from specific countries, which is super cool. So we can see that obviously our largest kind of segment is within the United States. And it looks like we had a large influx of people from China as well. I know that I know an agency out there contacted me a little while ago, so it looks like they must have shared Groundhogg with a few of their customers. So we can really kind of dig down into your geographics now and see where people are coming from so that you can best tailor your marketing or tailor how you run your business in order to satisfy needs in specific regions. If you want to really drill down to it into a regional breakdown, you can see exactly where people are interacting on a kind of like province or state basis. So if I wanted to see how people are interacting in the United States, I can see exactly which states people are using Groundhogg in. So I see South Carolina, Texas, Indiana, and this is within the last month, people who are opting in. Going down a little bit further, I can see where people come from in terms of social networks. We don't have a lot going on here, mostly because people are already on the list when they join the Facebook group. But it looks like we got a few opt-ins from Facebook specifically. And then we have the vast majority of search engine is Google, and that's actually the only one that's showing up here. Another cool report is you can see which pages people are actually opting in on. So we can see that a lot of people are opting in through our checkout page, a couple people through our contact page, but the vast majority is the checkout page. And we can see where people are coming from. So we do automatic lead source tracking. So we check the referrer of where customers are actually coming from. So we have a lot from Google. We have a couple from the WaaS Pro group, a couple from Facebook, our WordPress.org repository page, and just a wealth of information to look through so you can tailor your marketing strategy in order to optimize your stats. Let's move on to our email tab. This is my favorite tab because the vast majority of what we do is email here. So the big graph at the top, pretty straightforward. We can see emails sent, emails open, and emails clicked, and the relation in between them and how sending them affects your deliverability. So we can see that we sent a lot in the last month. We sent 7,000 emails in total with an average open rate of 31%. That's across all emails, broadcast emails, funnel emails, etc. We can also see that our average click-through rate was 18%, which I think is really, really good, given that the average is like below 5. So 18% is really, really good. This report is new, which is why it's totally empty. But again, we started tracking the changes in opt-in status of unsubscribe, spam, bounces, complaints. So we'll be able to see that information now and how that changes month to month and over time, so you can start to see trends. We have our last broadcast report. So this just shows you whichever last broadcast you sent and the stats associated with it. The last email we sent was actually the invite for this office hour session. So out of 814 emails delivered, we had 115 people open that email, and then 32 people actually click the link to come join office hours in the Facebook group, giving us a click-through rate of 27%, which is really, really good. An open rate of 14%, which isn't great, but it's better than zero. We then see all of our top-performing broadcasts, so we can see the broadcasts ordered in terms of performance and date. So that's going on there, which is pretty cool. These will only show broadcasts sent within the time period given at the top here, which is April. And then moving on to a couple of my favorite reports. So the first report that I'm going to mention is something called Top Performing Funnel Emails. So we go through all of your funnels and collect all of the statistics for the emails sent in those funnels and then rank them in terms of performance. So first by the number of emails that were sent, then by their open rate, and then by their click-through rate. So you can really see which emails are performing well, so you can create similar subject lines as well as similar content, and then you can drill down on what really makes those emails perform so well. So you can see that on some of our larger emails, we're seeing open rates of 27 and 30%, which is just fantastic, I think, and is really a benchmark for good performance. Conversely, we have my second favorite report, and that's funnel emails needing improvement. Now, this one is really, really cool because it tells you which emails are not performing well, so that you can go in and that you can fix it. So we can see that some of my emails here are getting relatively good open rates, but absolutely zero engagement, which is not great. So now you're able to go in and drill down on specific funnels which are not performing or underperforming and really, really, really solve those. We see that the benchmark for that is basically an open rate of less than 20% and a click-through rate of 10% or under, which is why this one is here. But now you're able to really drill down on those emails and find out why they're not performing, why they're not getting clicks. I think what I actually did is, based on this report, I was able to go and just rewrite the whole funnel. So we're going to be able to look at the stats for this month and really see that those click-through rates seriously improve. Or if they don't improve, then we know that a different strategy is needed. But we can now see those trends, which is what's important. Another cool thing is we get basically the gist of how this email is performing. So we can see that based on 14 emails, 40% people opened it, 0% clicked. And we can actually open up that email and see a breakdown of just that specific email within the given time range. So we sent 14, which is actually up from the previous time range, which is the last 30 days before this. The open rate is up significantly, so obviously tweaks that we made improved the open rate, but click-through rate is the same, so not great. Obviously, now we need some sort of engagement trigger to have in here so that people engage with the email and improve that click-through rate so that Google will give us some credit there. You can do the same thing for the emails which are performing well. So again, so that you can really model your email marketing after the emails that you're sending, which are doing well. So I think the best one that's going on here is our quick start one here, which gets an open rate of 51% and a click-through rate of around 24%. So let's go ahead and look at this email. So we sent 159 of these emails, which is a lot, which is a really good sample size to work from. We had 82 people open it, so just over 50%. And we had 20 people click on it, which gives us an open rate, or a click-through rate rather, of 24%. And we can see exactly which links people are clicking, which is really cool as well. So we can see that 10 of those people clicked links to our actual Quick Start course, 10 unique clicks and 16 clicks overall. We can see a couple of people went to go manage their email preferences, and someone went to join the Facebook group from one of the footer links. So we can see exactly how people are engaging with the emails that we send as well. That way we can tailor the number, or that way we can tailor the links or the type of content or the call to action in emails in order to get a better engagement. I see a question from Rolf. Rolf says, click-through will depend on the number of links in the email and the purpose of the email. Are the same metrics that illuminate what the content are? I'm sorry, Rolf. I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding the second portion of your question. I'm going to read it again just in my head to make sure. Okay, I think I understand. So what Rolf is asking is the number of links in the email pertinent to the actual click-through rate? And the answer to that is no, because the click-through rate is simply what content people engage with in the email and the number of times they engage with that content. So say you send out an email that has a link to a special offer on your website, your click-through rate would just be the number of people that clicked on that link in the email. And so we can see that depending on what that CTA is, in this case it's our quick start, we see that 10 unique people clicked through and engaged with that content, and then there were other links that people also engaged with. So it's not dependent on specifically how many links there are, but just the number of people that click that link in general. And that's going to give you your click-through rate and your engagement rate. Of course, your click-through rate will be 0 if you're sending out an email that doesn't have anything to engage with. So there's no specific call to action. Maybe it's just a transactional email to say, hey, welcome, and you don't want them to actually do anything. Of course, that will give you a click-through rate of 0. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. You should always have something in your email to engage with. That's why we have our footer links in all of our emails that has like documentation, partners, Facebook group, YouTube channel, just stuff for people to go to if there's no specific call to action, or they don't identify with the call to action in the email. And that will give you click-through rates as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Rolf. Let me know if you want a little bit more of an explanation on that front. Heading back to our email tab, I think I've gone through everything that's pertinent on this page. So we have done away with the funnels reporting, and I will describe what I mean there. So if you remember, in the edit bar, while you were editing the funnel, there used to be a toggle switch here, which allowed you to switch between the editing view and the reporting view. We have completely removed the reporting view from the funnel editor. We found that it was clunky to navigate, and nobody really was using it, and if they were, they weren't really telling us. So we decided to do away with it entirely, and we have a specific report now for the funnels as part of the new reporting dashboard. So we can see at the top of our new funnel reporting area a breakdown of the benchmarks and the number of people who have gone through specific benchmarks in your funnel over the time range. We only have one benchmark in this funnel, which is the tag applied benchmark, which starts off the funnel. But I'll break down into a little bit more about what's about soon. We can see that we have some active contact. We can see how many active contacts, rather, we have in the funnel over the period. So we had 186 people go through this funnel over the last month with a conversion rate of 100%. I'll explain what that is in a bit with a different funnel to choose from. We can see how the emails are performing for the specific funnel. So if you remember in the emails tab, we had all of the funnel emails basically showing in a chart of which ones were performing best. In this report, we only show the funnels which are or the emails rather that are specific to this funnel. And we can see how those are categorized and ranked. And we can also see which ones, of course, need improvement, same as in the emails area. We can see the benchmark conversion rate as well, which will show here, as well as any forms that we have, how those forms are performing in terms of conversion rate, impressions, and submissions. I am going to pull up the abandoned cart reclaim funnel to demonstrate what the conversion rate is all about. So the conversion rate of a funnel is dependent on how many people actually entered the funnel, so went through the initial benchmark, and completed the final benchmark in the funnel. So if the first benchmark is the last benchmark, meaning the only one in the funnel, then you're going to have a conversion rate of 100%. But if you have multiple benchmarks, for example, you start off with someone signing up for a course and you want them to buy something at the end of it, you can set the conversion benchmark to be the last one, and we're able to tell you that 27% of people who added something to their cart made it to the download purchased benchmark, which is really, really good, actually. We'll tell you how many people went through that process, and we can also tell you what the abandonment rate was. So the percentage of people that abandoned the funnel at some point. So they didn't make it to the end. Obviously, in this case, it's just the inverse of the conversion rate. We can show you, again, emails needing improvement and the emails which are actually performing well in this case. We'll give you any active forms. There are no forms for this particular funnel, so we're not going to show anything. And we can tell you the conversion rate of benchmark to benchmark. So we have 3 benchmarks on here. We have added to cart, empty cart, and download purchased. We'll tell you the conversion rate in between those specific benchmarks in case that's important to you. We have prettified our broadcasts report, so you can see a breakdown of specific broadcasts. This isn't too much different than the existing broadcast report. It's just pretty now, and it looks nice, and it's nice to look at. You can see how many people click against specific links, your open rate, and all of your good stats. Something that we've introduced, which I think is going to be incredibly useful, is e-commerce reporting. So if you have Easy Digital Downloads or WooCommerce, we are going to be able to tell you the revenue that specific emails, broadcasts, or funnels generate. So whenever someone clicks a tracking link through an email or submits a form, they get a tracking cookie. And if they make a purchase, we can then associate the action or the link or the email that they clicked through and associate that with revenue so that we can show it here. And we'll actually show you, of course, this is a brand new feature, and thus we don't have any reporting on it yet. But I'm really excited to see what this brings. So if we ever send out a broadcast email, which is like, we're running a Black Friday promotion, we'll be able to attach Black Friday revenue to that specific email so that we can see how well it performed over the date range that we give it. So super exciting stuff coming for anybody who uses Easy Digital Downloads or WooCommerce as their e-commerce tool of choice. That's the new reporting dashboard in a nutshell. Some great stuff going on there. One last thing, we have the forms tab. So this will just show you all of the forms that you have in any of your funnels and show you the specific conversion rates, submissions, total impressions, and good stuff like that. So you can see that categorized and how that plays out. Okay, that's the last report that I want to cover. Some great stuff coming up. We really want to release this as soon as possible. If you would like to help us with that, then I actually have an ask of you. If you want to help us make 2.2 super awesome, help us catch all of the bugs, and make the update process to 2.2 painless, then we are currently requesting that users download our pre-release candidate. So you can download our 2.2 release candidate from our blog and install it, not on your live site, not on your production site, but maybe on a staging site if you have one. And simply install it, go through the process of updating it, and let us know if it was an easy process. Let us know if you encountered any bugs or any errors. That will really help us make sure that when we release it to the public, that it's entirely ready to do so, and that it doesn't break anybody's site, which we don't want. So you can go to our blog, and then the first article is First Look at 2.2, Become a Beta Tester. There is a big button which will allow you to download the latest release candidate for 2.2, and there's also a link to a Google form where we are collecting feedback. So if you have any feedback, we want you to do it through this form, which is linked in the article, so that we can make sure that any issues get fixed or things are optimized. There we go. So where do I get the link for that? I am going to paste the link for that in the session chat. So if anybody wants to help us with beta testing 2.2, then please do that by going to this article, downloading the pre-release candidate, and filling out the Google form with any feedback. All right, so that's 2.2 in a nutshell. Super exciting stuff. Looking really forward to it. Robert says it looks amazing. Thank you, Robert. We put a lot of time into it. Rolf is asking what the time frame for completing 2.2 is, and we want to have it out by next week. But that can't happen unless we get an amount of feedback, which gives us the confidence that it's not going to break anybody's site, and it's going to do what we want it to do. So please submit your feedback, test it, and help us make sure that the launch is beautiful and seamless. We've been doing a serious amount of testing on our end. We have to build out plugin compatibility and lots of other things. So if you want to help us make the process easier and make sure that we're able to get 2.2 out faster, then download it, test it, put it on a staging site, and provide us with some feedback so that we can ensure that it gets the job done. Rolf asks, a lot of really cool things you were showing. I'm unsure about the format, what questions are appropriate. But one issue that I have struggled with is webinar funnels and the challenge that one has to set up a whole funnel for each event rather than set up a generic channel that can be reused for different events. Any thoughts on that would be appreciated. So whenever I do webinars like office hours or like our mastermind call for partners, I always just do it manually. And the reason I just do it manually is because the date always is different. It always changes. And it's just, I just find that I have peace of mind doing it manually because I know when it's set and it only takes 30 seconds and you can make last minute changes, and that's kind of just how I like to do it. And I do that through the broadcast tool, but I understand that not everybody likes to do it that way, and that's cool, and you want to set it up a funnel for the webinar. There are lots of ways to do webinars. Some people do automated daily webinars, some people do weekly webinars, some people do monthly webinars. Rolf, you're going to have to tell me what kind of webinar it is that you're trying to do. Keep in mind there is a 20-second delay from when words leave my mouth to when they reach you. So if there's a little bit of dead space, don't worry about that. It's just because there's a delay. Okay, so Rolf is apparently no longer present in order to tell us what kind of webinar funnel he's doing. So I'm going to assume the most standard of webinar templates, which is the weekly webinar. which is you choose a specific day of the week to have the webinar on. It might be a Wednesday, it might be a Friday. But let's jump into how that works. So if you want to create a reusable funnel that, okay, so Rolf is saying, okay, so Rolf has elaborated on this point. So with a webinar funnel, has 4 emails, 3 to 4 date timers, and you have to change the date timers every single time that there is a new event. Yeah, so that's true, and well, that's kind of the way that it has to be done, because again, every time you have a webinar, the time might change, it might be different. So that's kind of just something, that's one of the realities of kind of like email automation and email marketing, is that's kind of just stuff that has to be done. If you want to do it a little bit more automatically, maybe if you have like a basic kind of time that, for example, like a weekly webinar, which I was pointing out, and you wanted to do it on like the same time every Thursday, kind of like how we do office hours, then one of the ways that you can do it is this. Before I jump into the webinar registration demo, Brian has a follow-up question. Beta testing 2.2 is the best way to install new alpha releases by unzipping the new plugin file in the plugins directory. Yes, so you can just unzip the file right in the plugins directory, and it will overwrite any of the old files and recreate any new files that need to be created. Rolf also is adding more context to the webinar question. If the funnel was connected to a booking or an event and it was possible to draw title, time, date, description from the event, then the funnel could be reused. And yeah, okay, I see. So if you want to if you have like something like the event calendar plugin or something like that, we don't have an existing integration for that at this time. But if you're creating email campaigns and email funnels for events, that's kind of just like one of the things that need to be done. There's not really a way around that. You have to tailor the emails to the specific kind of event. You have to kind of go through the steps, reset the date timers, and that's just true. I am open to an integration with something like the event calendar that pulls the date and pulls the times and pulls the content and all of that stuff. But that's not something we currently have at the moment. And it would be quite a process to do all of that as well. It's not trivial to say that kind of integration. But I hear you, Rolf. The most automated way in terms of dates that you can do is by using something called the advanced timer. So if I open up the actions tab, and we have something called the advanced timer, and I recently came across this with another customer, and what they wanted to do is they had a weekly funnel, or a weekly webinar rather, that always ran on like the Friday. And what you can do is you can set up a funnel that does something like this week Friday. So if they join the funnel, so let's say they enter the funnel on Monday, and we want to send them reminders up until the Friday, and then the actual email on the Friday. So we can use the advanced timer for that. So we can say this week, Monday, 9 a.m. And that's going to send them the reminder on Monday, and then the reminder on Tuesday, so on and so forth. And the question then becomes, well, what if they join the funnel after Monday? Well, then what we can do is we can change the condition. So if the date has passed for the Monday, which is it's showing going May 4th at 9 a.m. is obviously not May 4th, it's May 5th. So what we can do is we can actually skip the step and we can select which step we want to skip to. So let's say I wanted to skip it to the next date timer. Then there we go. So using the advanced timer, we can skip specific days of the week and move up all the way up until the actual timer for that particular day of the week. And that's a great way to do weekly webinars. If it's the same time every week, you don't really have to change anything. So if you're doing that kind of webinar situation, using the advanced timer is a really, really easy way to do that. Otherwise, it's kind of, you have to go through the process. You have to change the dates, you have to change the content, and that's just the way they do it. I understand that it takes time. Maybe it's a question of investing in a virtual assistant to do all of that stuff for you. Otherwise, you're going to have to take the half hour and kind of just get her done. Elko asks, cool stuff, some different topics, moving away from the webinar topic for a moment. Elko is asking, do I still promote the funnel market? I saw that on an older version. No, we don't. So we used to promote turning our store into kind of like a directory for people to sell their funnel templates. We are no longer doing that because the issue of like licensing and then passes and stuff made it really complicated. The issue of currency as well as commission rates and all of this stuff also got really, really complicated. So we decided to scrap the idea altogether. So we're no longer doing a marketplace for funnel templates. However, the funnel sharing aspect of Groundhogg has not changed at all. For anybody who doesn't know, if you want to move in between Groundhogg installations but copy a funnel over to maybe a different WordPress website, you can just export the funnel directly to your browser, and then you can import that anywhere else in any other WordPress install with Groundhogg installed that you want. You can also share your funnel links, meaning that you can just copy your link here, and then you can send that in an email, send that to your list, share it in a Facebook group, and whoever clicks that link will also be able to download a copy of your funnel. So some cool stuff going on there as well. So the share link, by the way, is protected, it's secure, so no need to fret about anybody guessing it. There is a second part to Elko's question. He asks, do you plan new integrations, and if so, which? For instance, with more WP-based ticket help desk plugins. We always love building integrations. We get, I'm sure you can imagine, but we get literally dozens of integration requests a week, and we can't fulfill on them all. Currently, our team is 100% encompassed in building 2.2 and doing all of the compatibility updates with our existing integrations and extensions, of which there are many. After 2.2 is released, I have no doubt we'll be focused on improving it for some time. We are always loving to build more integrations. However, we have over 45 in the store at this time, and it's getting a bit unruly with the number of integrations that are out there. What we would love is for third-party platform providers like other help desk plugins to start building integrations for Groundhogg. We can only take on so much from our small team. What we really need is we need third-party developers to start building integrations for our platform. So if you're using an unsupported unsupported platform and you want an integration, I highly recommend and ask that you go to that third party and you ask them to develop an integration on their end. We have lots of resources and lots of developer tools and documentation for them to build an integration. So if you want to have them reach out to us, we will give them the appropriate tools and docs that they're going to need in order to build an integration with our platform. We always want to build more integrations, and we always want to build more plugins and be able to add more value. However, at this time, we're really focused on improving reporting and improving core, so integrations are not top of mind. If you need a new integration and you need that, then please ask whoever you're using or your platform provider to build an integration. We are happy to work with them on that and provide them with the tools that they need. So hopefully that answers your question, and hopefully that's not a disappointing answer. And I hope you understand kind of like where we're at and what we're focused on. Jonathan is asking, let's say you developed a drip campaign including content. However, you want to share this campaign with a number of clients' websites. Is this possible? And absolutely, of course it is, Jonathan. All you got to do is you got to click that funnel export button right there, and then click the share button. And all you have to do is then install that same funnel on any other websites. Hopefully that answers your question. It's a super simple process. So I have exported this funnel right here. All I have to do in order to import that into any other WordPress website is going to funnels and then the add new button, clicking on import funnel. Well, there's some styling stuff going on there, which is why we need feedback for 2.2. Exactly the reason here. Some weird styling stuff going on there. But then what you need to do is you just need to drag in your import funnel file, and then you can click import funnel, and that'll just build the funnel entirely with all of the emails, all of the meta, all of the settings right into the given WordPress website. So super cool stuff going on there, Jonathan. It's as easy as that. Rolf has more question about the event calendar. We're getting a little bit into the weeds on that one, Rolf. So what I'm going to suggest is I think you have an open ticket with our support guys. So we're going to continue to communicate with your specific issue on support. We're getting a little bit into the weeds there, but the reason that the infrastructure for the calendar integration or calendar integration is not going to work for your specific use case is because it's dependent on the date that the actual event is. And what we can't do is import that from other plugins at this time, like an event plugin. So it's not necessarily what you're looking for, and it's not trivial. And as I mentioned to Elko, we're kind of in a space right now where we're really focused on improving reporting and improving that aspect of the plugin and making sure that 2.2 is a success. We are open to integrations from other plugin providers. So maybe if you're using, let's say the event calendar plugin, maybe an integration from their end in order to satisfy the need for kind of like that rolling event funnel that you have going on. But honestly, you're going to have way much of an easier time building the funnel for the specific event. Yes, it's going to take 30 minutes to do all the emails and to do the timers and whatnot, but you are going to have way less headache than trying to set up a recurring funnel that's kind of just like automatic for specific emails. That's when you get into that stuff, that's when you're becoming all of a sudden like a software developer, and that's non-trivial. It is trivial to spend the 30 minutes and kind of just like get all of that stuff done. I know it takes time and it's kind of like monotonous, but I promise you'll have an easier time just doing it kind of like the good old-fashioned way. If you're having like some sort of roadblock with that process, then that's what our support team is there for, and I highly encourage you to continue communicating with us on that front in order to solve that issue. Brian Walter says the skip step feature for the advanced timer is great. I've been looking for on past events that had a fixed start date. Awesome. Yeah, so great. I'm glad you like that if date passed feature in the timers. This feature exists not only for the advanced timer, but for the regular date timers as well as the field timers. So the field timer is something interesting. So if we pull that up here. So the field timer is a date timer based on specific custom meta. So you can add custom meta to, let's say, a contact record. And let's say they choose a date from the date picker in a form. Then we're able to select that specific date meta field from here. And then we can run automation or run timers based on the days before or after that event. So let's say I had someone, I don't think I actually have any date fields here, but let's just say this one here has a date in it. Then this field timer would run 3 days before this date when it gets there. So super cool stuff available. And if the date's already passed, of course, you're able to then use the if date passed function to either stop the funnel, continue the funnel, or skip to an additional step. So super cool stuff going on from the field timer there. Cedric asks, when we have customers who want to switch from their existing autoresponder to Groundhogg, a way to do that slowly is to send days after days their contacts to a landing page connected to Groundhogg. But by doing this, the emails are not automatically confirmed by Groundhogg while they are in the previous autoresponder. Is it possible to force Groundhogg to add a confirm status in this case? For example, when people subscribe to a specific form, that would help the process of switching people to Groundhogg. Well, the kind of the default way for people to switch from one autoresponder to another is to export the list from that autoresponder and just import it. While you're importing contacts into Groundhogg, we do have a checkbox that you can enable that will specify all of the contacts that you're importing are actually legitimate and confirmed already. So if I actually go through this process, you can see, so while I'm mapping the fields from the CSV file, there's a checkbox that says, I previously confirmed these email addresses. That is really the way that you should be doing it. Having people opt in through a landing page, or at least making that your customers actually take some kind of action, is definitely a way to lose a lot of contact records when you make the switch, or when you make the final switch. You're going to see a lot of drop off there because you're actually requiring that contacts take some sort of action in order for you to switch platforms. Easiest way is to export the list and then import it into Groundhogg. There is no way to force Groundhogg to turn someone's status to confirmed. You can do that through custom PHP, but you can't do that just through basic Groundhogg. The reason for that is there's compliance issues associated with that, and we don't want anybody getting into trouble. So if you want to kind of custom do that and force everybody's contacts to confirmed using PHP, then you are more than welcome to do so. I would just recommend exporting the list and importing it. Having people opt in through a separate landing page just seems like a hassle to me, and maybe there's a specific reason for doing that. If you have a specific reason for doing that, and that's really the only way you can do it for whatever reason, then you should probably communicate with our support team, and we'll figure out the best solution for you to move forward. All right, we're at the 48-minute mark, and that's a pretty good office hours length, I think. If there are any additional questions, of course, you are always able to ask them right up until the end. So I'm going to pull up some closing notes here. So if you are in need of additional Groundhogg resources in addition to these weekly office hours calls, we have academy.groundhogg.io where you can learn essential Groundhogg marketing strategies. We have a couple of free courses there. I highly recommend that you take them. It explains a lot, and a lot of people are finding them really helpful. If you're more of the get-it-done-for-you person and not the do-it-yourselfer, we have a certified partner directory with lots of certified partners willing and able to help you implement Groundhogg and your marketing strategy. If you have a friend or a colleague who you think would actually benefit from using Groundhogg as their CRM, we believe you should be rewarded for any purchases that they make. If you refer us them, you can go to affiliate area /registration to become an affiliate and earn 10% on any sales. If you're not following us, you absolutely should be. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. Office hours recordings are posted to YouTube, so you can subscribe to us there and catch the replays of these office hours if you need to watch it over again. Reviews are essential to our business. They help us get more customers. More customers means more revenue, which means more developers, which means more features that you want and love faster. So if you want some features or you're waiting on some features, then the best way to get those features is to go and leave us a review. And you can do that on our WordPress.org repository page. That's WordPress.org /plugins/Groundhogg with 2 Gs. If you have more questions at any point, You can ask them. We're going to be continuously monitoring the chat after office hours is over. You can also post your questions in the Facebook group. That's what it's for. You can also open support tickets, Twitter, message us on Facebook, lots of ways to get in touch with us, and we're going to make sure that you get answers to your critical questions. Before I end it, just want to remind everybody that we do have a special 3-year term promotion going on, which does end May 31st. Essentially, the deal is you can sign up for Groundhogg for a 3-year license, but only pay for 2 of those years. It's BOGO. Buy 2 years, get 1 free. Available for the Agency, Pro, and Plus plans. If you are an existing license holder, then we will offer you a prorated upgrade upon request. Just message us on Facebook or open a support ticket, and we can give you a special link to apply your pre-existing license cost to upgrading to a 3-year term special offer. So again, this is available until May 31st. I want to thank everybody for attending and spending the last 51 minutes with me. It was a blast. I will see everybody next week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another section of Office Hours. Thank you and have a wonderful day.